Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to have a very special episode of Know Your Alumni, episode number 2. Today we are going to talk about experience at Jamia Hamdard and academic growth and professional careers in food technology. So here's Ms. Shireen with us and we'll dive into her journey today. My first question to you would be, could you briefly walk us through your journey and tell us your key turning points in your journey?
Thanks for having me here. So I graduated from Jamia Hamdard with a BTech in food technology in 2021, and right around the time I graduated, I also started working with a plant-based meat company. They were called Demolish Foods. We were making whole cuts of chicken, and this was a technology that we had to develop from scratch. I worked as a food scientist there, and that was one of my turning points as well. In This was not just something that came out of the blue. A, it was something that came in addition to other opportunities that I had been seeking, and these included the summer internships that you do as a student, a bachelor student, and also other opportunities that come your way. You grab them and you make the best of them. And these included being a taster for this brand called Tag Taste. I, along with some of our other colleagues, we worked there for around 9 months, and these honed our skills in food science and technology in other areas apart from just hands-on experiences. So all of this combined with research potential helped me get into this company and also networking. And then I worked there for almost 3 years. I then decided it was time to do a master's, and this was something I wanted to be funded by myself. So I had to work even harder. I decided to take a year off. That's when I prepared for both the GATE exam and for these scholarships, because it's a competitive space. That's what I did, and I also hoped for the best. Towards the end of this journey of just preparing for scholarships, which was quite daunting, I decided that even if I don't get it, I would love to take the opportunities that are in hand, even if it's in India or anywhere else that's offered to me. And I think that helped a lot. I finally then, before hearing about my results, I applied to certain companies around India in a different space, more of a climate lens. And that was when I started working with the Climate Group in Delhi. This was a project about decarbonizing the supply chain in India for food systems. And this can only be done with private companies, so that's what we were doing. And then I heard back from the scholarships, and I was fortunate to get 2 of them. It was a tough decision to decide between those 2, and I'm glad I chose Wageningen. And that's where I am. I'm doing my master's, and it's my second year now.
Yeah. So thank you for telling your journey to us. Moving on to the next question, what made you choose food technology, and how experience at Jamia Hamdard shaped that decision?
All right. If I can be very honest, I roughly had an idea of what I wanted to do with my career, and this was around high school. That's when you start thinking about these things a bit more seriously. And you're not sure where the journey would take you. But I did know that I wanted to work close to the social sciences in a way, and helping people. And I loved food. I was good at math, and also I enjoyed art. So it was really difficult to pinpoint exactly what to do. And my father kind of stepped in. He told me about this new course, and he mentioned that there's a chance to do a BTech in food technology. And I was like, oh, that's something interesting. But that was passively in my head. I was not sure if I wanted to go with it right away. But as time came closer to applying for colleges, I realized that it's a really good opportunity, and it's time I explored this more. Because when you hear about food technology and you talk to other people, you're not sure what it includes. But when you enroll and then you see how interdisciplinary the science is, you realize there's so much potential. It can be connected to everything possible, and it's central to public health. And I felt like that's my calling, so I continued. The first year was difficult, but Jamia Hamdard at that time, especially with the Vice Chancellor, there were different opportunities that you could make the best use of. There were guest lecture series, and there would be guest lecturers from different aspects of life, like even politicians or the person who made the Aadhaar card for the entirety of India. Like these different perspectives, they would come together and would fuel ambition for students. And I think that really helped being at Jamia Hamdard and being surrounded by students who had the idea of excellence. It can get a little daunting because you're a bachelor student. There's only so much you can do. But I felt like if you had a vision in your mind, if you knew that the fundamentals of food science are really important, you would go out of your way to achieve these things.
Okay. Very interesting it was. My next question to you would be, which skills, technical or soft, helped you throughout your journey in your personal growth, professional growth, and in your life, basically?
I think that's a really important question because I feel like as students, we are so focused on our studies, which is very important. You need your fundamentals, they need to be sorted. But in addition to that, I feel like when you're presenting your work, you might lack. So it's important you hone your communication skills and your people skills. How it's like selling yourself to the audience, no matter what you're talking about. If your interpersonal skills are good, people will listen to you. And whatever work you're doing, like 90% of it would be your actual work, like your research, your fundamentals, your whatever you worked on. But the rest of the 10% is where a lot of people lack, and that comes when you hone these skills of presentation and communication, putting yourself out there, your confidence. That speaks more than the work that you've done. Just be honest with the work that you have at hand and present it confidently, and be as transparent. That's also something I learned, that research needs to be transparent. You don't have to make make cases of being too big than it is.
Research, you talked about research, and I really want to ask you a question. What opportunities did you explore after your graduation, and the impact of international exposure on your career? I would really like to know this question.
All right. Yeah, it is difficult to comment in a very short time, but I can try to paint a picture. So when I was in my third year, third year was starting, there was this opportunity of being a part of the winter school program at Wageningen University, which is where I'm studying now, and it's also one of the best schools for studying food and agriculture. They offered these programs for both summer and winter, and these were a week-long program where you would study different cases. For example, you either study product development or food law, and different aspects of regulatory affairs in food, which is also very important because we work in food processing and food technology, which is after food has been harvested. And to present it to the table, I think there are many ways to do that, and it's important that we know all aspects of it, and regulatory affairs are very central to it. You'll know that when you work in a company, you realize that they ask you to think about it way ahead in time when you're launching a product. So international exposure regarding such topics, I had the opportunity to be there for a week, and it really changed my perspective on, again, the interdisciplinary nature of food science. I realized that there's policy implications of a product that's being made. For example, in India, genomes are banned, but if you ask someone as a food product developer, you ask them, what if you used an enzyme which was genetically modified? It's not a part of the food product, but the enzyme is used to create that food product. Is that allowed? And that's a tricky question. So you need to be prepared for such questions when you want to take, especially India's landscape in food science, to the global level. I think we lack there. So building onto these skills would help. And for me, just getting that perspective helped me be more confident in my application for jobs. For example, applying to Demolish. One of the central questions in the interview was, what did you learn at Wageningen when you were there in the winter school program? Because I'm only a student, there's only so much experience I have, and that included some internships at a canning industry, knowing quality assurance and how to do it, sensory sciences, which was tag taste, and just knowing how to do sensory evaluation for a product, and then regulatory affairs. So this really helped land opportunities that demanded a basic level of understanding for a product, and then when you get into the role, you hone these skills and you work on top of them, and you learn on the way. So those were the opportunities. And what kind of opportunities there are, to comment on that, it depends on where you want to go. I think
We have a question for that.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so roughly it's where you want to go, and it can be either completely in sensory sciences, microbial testing. It's also very important for food product development, and a lot of these decision makers, when you're talking about regulatory affairs or the landscape of food systems as a whole, all of this is possible. Yeah.
I'm learning a lot today. And my last question, and then we'll have a rapid fire round. My last question is that what do you see in future of food technology in next maybe 10 to 15 years? And what advice would you give to students like us who are pursuing it?
Oh, if I think about it, to the future of food science, a lot of this debate is around sustainable development and sustainable ways of consuming, which includes plant-based proteins. You've heard about that, meat analogs, and but that's one part of it. There's also cell-cultured food and new technologies like fermentation products. I see a lot of potential there, but in the recent 5 years, there was a lot of pressure on plant-based meats. But I feel like it's shifting now to understanding more of conscious consumption. So more health foods and more of outcomes of your consumptions. For example, biodegradable packaging and post-harvest waste, if it's valorized, if it's used for other purposes. For example, if we take beets, like a lot of the protein is in the leaves of the product, and they are rendered useless after harvesting because people take the beets and they make beet juice or other products out of it. But there's a lot of protein that's left, so companies are trying to now get the protein out of there, give protein sources, alternate protein sources to for consumption. I think that's important, and that's going to really blow up. I would keep an eye on that. And food systems in general, they will become more sustainable. Policy driven decisions would require expertise on systems thinking rather than just products, so developing that would help. And in addition, there's also AI. To be conscious of AI use, there are different ways to integrate it in our field, and I think optimizing that to the best of possibilities would be really helpful for students. And finally, I think being ambitious in general about, if we just talk about India, we have a long way to go, and food law is central to that that path. I think if as students we're conscious about what the basic Indian food law says, and for different categories versus European or US, there's no benchmark. By the way, there's no one central benchmark that, oh, this is the optimum, like this is the best food law possible. No, like Europe also has its disadvantages. They're very slow in innovation, but they're very conscious in safety and security. Yeah. So just seeing the best and taking the advantages from these countries, their laws, and making sure that we also implement that in our own model, because India is too vast for a central model. So trying to understand those landscapes would really help.
Okay. Thank you, Api. I think we should move on to our next segment, which is rapid fire round. I want you to answer it in a very short line, but very effective. So first question, one skill every FT student or food tech student must know.
Oh. As I said, communication skills and interpersonal skills, these two combined and honed. Yeah.
One mistake student should not do in food technology.
Ignoring the impact of not knowing your fundamentals, like be very clear on your science, know what you are speaking about.
Research or industry? Choose one.
I'm sorry, I'm always going to say industry, because I feel like that's where you can apply your research and it's faster. Like that's my personal opinion.
Okay. My favorite question, aha moment in your college life.
When I realized that I could really combine pharmaceutical sciences, their technologies into food science research, especially for flavor technology.
One thing you wish you started earlier.
Being like putting myself out there and being more extroverted and social and grasping these opportunities the minute they come.
Okay. One word to describe life there and abroad.
Oh, transformative, life-changing.
Thank you so much, Api, for coming here and showing us your insights on food technology. To our audience, thank you for watching this video. For more such content on food technology, please like, share and subscribe to this channel.